Welcome to The Executive Appeal, the show for CEOs of early 8-figure companies who feel like the business only moves when they push. If you're running a $10 to $25 million company and every big decision still rolls up to you, your leaders are smart but misaligned, trust is thinner than you'd like, and you're tired of being the hero that keeps everything moving, this is the room for you. I'm your host, Alex D. Tremble, CEO of GPS Leadership Solutions. I help CEOs see exactly where their own leadership is bottlenecking speed and trust, and then install one clear leadership operating system so their executives take real ownership and the business can run fast without them in every fire. Each episode of this podcast has 2 parts. First, we spotlight the guest, their story, what they built, how they think about leading their people. Then we get honest about what's still hard at the top, where things slow down, where trust and ownership break down, and what they're doing to fix it. No theory, just what actually worked in the room when the cameras were off. Now, let's meet today's guest. What's good, brother? How you living, man?
Hey, man. Oh, man. I'm more nervous this time than the first time. It's crazy.
You can't be, because now you're the big man in charge. You are the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer. That what is it called? HNC? Is that how you know?
Man, that's all made up. No, I'm just kidding. I still eat ice cream at midnight just like every other person out there.
And quickly, everyone, don't do that. Not healthy.
It's good for the soul.
Some of you know I've been actually, funny enough, and we'll get into the conversation. I just last week, doctor told me I was no longer pre-diabetic. It's like I was working on,
let's go.
They said, yeah, whatever you do not eat ice cream at midnight. So
Bro, you look good.
I appreciate it, sir.
What's your skin time routine? Like, do you exfoliate? Well,
I'll tell you after
we're gonna add that at the
Dude, Ryan, so again, you've been on twice now,
yeah.
And every time we jump on it's a fun time. For those who were not with us, oh my God, it was 2 years ago, I think maybe you're on. This is maybe 2 years ago. So yeah, you have been ducking and dodging me for a long time.
Stop.
So y'all know, this is my friend. So for those who do not know you, what do they need to know about your past to help them understand how you are today and how you see the world?
Oh, how much time does everyone have? No, I think, well, thank you for having me on, first of all. The last time was a blast, and I often look back at that, and I'm like, and to think about where we are now, both you and I, and it's such a fun journey, and for us to be able to have these conversations is such a treat. So I think a lot of people know me from my ATD days, right? So I served as the head of management development at ATD, ran the government group as well, and healthcare. And when I left, I took a full dive into startups. And it's been almost, I'd say almost 6 years since I've been in startups. And I think I've been involved indirectly, directly in 8 different startups since then.
Wow.
Been fortunate enough to have a small exit in between. And for those that know, it's like for every success, there's 7 or 8 that you don't want to talk about. Those exist. So I'm actually on venture, the latest one, which we'll talk about today, 4-star guidance and a few other things. And I've been fortunate enough since October to be the CEO of it. It is in short, pediatric behavioral health company across Louisville and Lexington, Kentucky, which was a home base for me from my startups earlier on. And we are on the path of expanding into California, going multi-state in the fall, and then hopefully eventually Michigan early next year. So it's been something. So
Something good because you're
yeah,
growing.
yeah.
Well, I think that's my first question, though. I have so many questions, but I,
So many questions. Me too.
but I mean, you've been at the helm at for again relatively short time,
Yeah.
and in that short time, you've been able. Like, the company has been excelling, growing very quickly. Um, what do you attribute it to? The growth, the direction, and whatnot.
I'd be remiss, Alex, if I didn't talk about the trials and tribulations that came with it. My team and some of my friends joke that I always like to provide too much context, but without the context, it doesn't make sense to talk about the story today. So I joined the company as an investor. I brought together an investment group as well as myself back in late 2023 and sat on the board for a little while, and then eventually became the co-executive director on the operations side, helping with some of the structure, swim lanes, training, HR, non-clinical stuff, stuff that I'm kind of good at, and it did fairly well. And I had a really good co-executive director at the time. Together we went through a government shutdown. We went through loss of funding, new healthcare policies with Medicaid and Medicare and just all of these things. And then on top of that, the extra layer of going from a one small mom and pop facility to nearly tripling in size and the inherent issues that come with that. You really learn a lot real quick. And in September, my business partner and co-executive director took a permanent leave to take care of things with his family. And I was kind of like, well, I guess it's going to be me. Let's do this thing. I was fortunate to have really good mentors, honestly, a really good team and great examples. Like in my history, I liken it to the movie Slumdog Millionaire. I say this all the time without the millionaire part, but it's like every single experience I've had in my career has come back from one way or another to like help me get through what I'm going through. Now I'm like, you know what? Tony Bingham at ATD would do it this way. Elad Levinson, a mentor in mindfulness, would do it this way. Alex Tremble would say, and so forth. And so, I lean on that, and it's really important.
What would you say? Because, like you said, all of us have these different and unique experiences, which impact our perception, our perspective, how we go about solving these problems, and how we go about finding new solutions and whatnot. So I'd love to hear, because there's so many CEOs who start off in operations and they move up. There are CEOs that start off, just maybe they're just like an expert in a particular area, whatever. And or maybe they're just like someone who actually a founder CEO, right? And they just knew the product that well, and they start growing the business. I haven't, again, I know there are many out there. I haven't talked to any recently that were investors who became the CEO. So I'd love to hear what, from your investment perspective in history, makes you think of the job of CEO differently or uniquely. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. First and foremost, I think you've known me for a while, and potentially other people that listen. I'm an operator. Like, put me in front of a problem and let's find a solution there. And so my first thought is, with anything, what's the solution tactically? What are the steps to get there? I just kind of wired that way. So going back to my experience at ATD, I was fortunate enough to be in a situation where, at the time, Tony Bingham and Tim Ito, our senior director, were looking for people who are entrepreneurial. I mean, I'm very entrepreneurial, and so is my team. So like, we almost had like these mini businesses we were growing, and that was really my first start. I think you remember some of this. your
Yeah.
own
Yeah.
budget
Yeah.
line item. Let's start this program. Let's start this event. And we had that runway. So really built that up. Um, and then over the years, you started to see that the organizations who had really strong operators who were going to get down and dirty in terms of figuring out the solution were going to succeed because they knew no matter how big the issue was, big or small, there's a process tactically to get through it.
Yeah.
Mentors used to say, what's the small bite? Keep taking a bite, keep taking a bite, keep taking a bite.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when you look at the entire thing, you're like, dude, you're going to get paralyzed. But if you're like, all right, what are our steps? What are our actions? What can we control right now?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
if you've got that, you can get through it as far as you can get through, and hopefully you get through the other side. That is a big thing as being an operator and investor on both sides. You look at a startup when I was, when my investment team and I were looking at places to invest into, that operator has to be like rock solid. You have to know that that guy is not just big picture. He's got a vision, great product, talks a big game, can raise the money, but can he get down there and like get the product out, sell it, manage these people, motivate them, and then like, and somehow, some way be lucky enough to like get it all together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of it's luck, but that everything, big or small, is a process. And operators who know that, they're going to succeed the most. So I came from that process oriented thing. And it's just still today, 60 employees, 3 locations, 3 portfolio companies, a total of probably 80 in the organizations that I'm involved with. That is our foundation. What's the process to get to this next part?
Yeah. So 2 things really quickly. One, you make me think, literally a conversation I had this morning with a CEO of a company who's considering making a shift. And I was telling the CEO, I said, look, words matter to me. So I said, what's the next best step that you can take that will have the biggest impact? Now, I said, words matter. So again, like you said, if you're thinking about the long run, it's too foggy, too much confusion. So what's the next? What is literally the next best step? Best being like, there's a million different steps you could do. What's the next best step you can do? There's a million things you can't do. So what is the next step that I can do? So it filters out everything else. And it says it has the biggest impact. I didn't say that was important. There's a million things. As leaders, we know there are so many things that are important, but what will have the largest impact? And if you put all those together, and just make the next best step you can today that has the biggest impact, you will keep moving. And if you're moving in the right direction, you ultimately get somewhere better than where you are right now. So I love what you just talked about. And I want to ask a different question then to jump on top of that. I'll phrase it like this. So I have been fasting more. You and I have been fasting for a long time, doing intermittent fasting. And recently,
and that's why you're an Adonis and look amazing.
And this 6-pack,
brother,
didn't come from. I mean, no one. Don't look. It's just. I was at the barbershop the other day. I was like telling the guy who we're both losing weight. I'm like, I'm gonna have a 6-pack next month. He's like, yeah, me too. But yeah, I'm gonna swing over to Safeway right now. He's like, I'm gonna buy 2 of them. But I did my first. It was weird because I did. I've been doing. I did 12 hours for a long time, then 14 hours, and I did 16 hours, and I was doing 18 hours. And the other day, I ended up doing 21 hours, and then I was like, well, I'm just there. I might as well just even try it. I did a 24-hour fast. At the end of the 24 hours, I'm like, wait, oh my God, I'm gonna be so hungry. Hits 9 o'clock, and I'm like, I'm good, actually. I'm not hungry at all. I mean, I decided to eat something just because, but I didn't need to eat. I could have literally went right back to sleep. That would have took me 30 odd hours. I said to say, I feel like there are so many things that are scary before you do it. We have this anticipation of what this is actually going to feel like, be like. But once you do it, you're like, oh wow, I did it. I did it. It wasn't comfortable, but it wasn't that hard. I'd love to hear from you. Was there anything that you have experience again as a CEO, as the lead operator for the organization, that initially you were like, oh my God, this is gonna be hard, it's gonna be so scary. And then you got into it and you're like, oh shoot, I got this. My team got this. Like we're flowing.
Brother, that's every day. Like, we always think about what keeps other people up at night, right?
Yeah.
And mine are no different than early stage companies. Payroll, are these checks going to come in on time? Are we going to have weather issues? I'm in pediatric behavioral health policy. Like, if a politician happens to say, like, could that impact how we serve our community and these kids? One bad insurance claim, like, when you're in an early stage company like us, I take that back. Like, in hindsight, if you look at startups, which we're truly not, the organization's been around since 2021, and I joined in 23, but we're running a bit like a startup now because of how we're growing.
Yeah.
There are like one or two things that could, I wouldn't say catastrophic, but severely impact it. And so, like, as you grow, the stability gets there, but it's not for the faint of heart. And so, there's the day-to-day things like that. Or, I've got four execs. If one quit, I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Like, I can't be the chief of human resources. I mean, I'd be terrible at it. I can't. I gotta find a chief clinical. Like, dude, there's always something.
Yeah.
And I'd love to ask a Fortune 5 guy this, but I'm sure there's always something with them, right? Like, is this new investment going to work, or this new product, or this new division? But then you go back to what we just talked about. Circling back to something you said about your fast, once you have to kind of get good at drown the noise out. You're like, once you take the emotion out, which is so hard, because you're like, am I effing up right now? Did I do this right? Like, the doubt, the noise, everyone else's worry, staff, what people are saying. If you just put yourself in this like fishbowl and you're like, what's next?
Yeah.
And what's next? And what's next? You have to. Matt Kirsch, I don't know if you ever met Matt Kirsch. He had a company out of California called OG Life Lab. And he used to talk about like disciplined focus of like, you could chase a shiny, bright object of like a cool new product or innovation, or it's like, trendy. It's like, you got to drown that noise out too.
Yeah.
And so, like, what is it? Like, right here. And then the next one. And then the next one. And then you got to lean on that. Like, pretty hard.
I know.
And then ice cream at midnight.
Everyone, do not listen to this guy.
Ben and Jerry's American Dream. Let's go.
In other places, you can listen to him. He's really, really great operator, investor, all those things. Ice cream, no.
Ben and Jerry's like, we should sponsor these guys. Remember last time we were trying to get IHOP and Woodbridge to sponsor us? Still not working.
I'm trying,
bro.
If they can do a sugar-free syrup, no, they do have sugar-free syrup probably, but it's probably horrible.
Sugar-free?
I could imagine. Sorry, we're off topic.
I'm sorry.
I wanted to ask you before we take a quick break. You and I were talking before it all started about the mission, the vision, the impact of this amazing 4-star guidance organization you run. I'd love for you to share a little more about, like, why did you choose to lead this company, and what makes you, like, what gets you excited about leading, even with all the hard stuff, what makes you excited about the work you do now? So
I'm going to try to keep the story short, but it has to do with moments and a little bit of kismet of how I met my my business partner, Chris, who's on the board now, and he serves as a consultant. But we were both at an investor event in Louisville, I don't know if I ever told you this story, but it's kind of funny. And when you're at these investor events, everyone's like, just showing their feathers and trying to be too cool or whatever. And so Chris and I, listen, man, we're in Louisville. He's a black dude from North Carolina. I'm this Filipino guy from Detroit. And like, naturally, we're going to sync up, right? We're like, yeah, you want to hang out? And he's like, yeah. And so like, whatever, we're being us, and we had a good group around us, and it was a good time. But naturally, you kind of lean towards that way. And we talked about this in the last pod. In rooms that I'm in, rarely do they look like me or do they look like Chris. And so in the back of my head, mission wise, like, what do I do in every single startup or venture that I'm in to give access to the next guy who looks like me, came from the same place, or didn't know this was a possibility? Yeah. So 4-star guidance has a little bit to do that. But Chris and I, he's going back to North Carolina. We're flying out of Louisville Airport, and he has to lay over in DC, which in National, which is where I land. And for whatever reason, we're flying, and it's just like, and we're like, are you going to be the last face I see before I die? Like, we're super cool. We're trying to be like super cool. Like, turbulence isn't bothering us. And I look at him, and he looks at me, doesn't say anything. We're both trying to play it cool. And then like we land, and it's just like one wheeling southbound for a little bit. And he goes, man, that pilot one-wheeled that bitch, didn't he? And I was like, the plane erupted in laughter. Like, and then, so I just felt really connected to one near-death experience. And he goes, before that, we were talking about 4-star guidance. I thought, I'm never going to see this guy ever again. Cool mission, though. Yeah. We had this moment. We talked after, and he's like, come down next week, man. The kids would love to see people like you and me doing this together. I want to reach more kids. We're pediatric behavioral health, community-based organization. Kids who have ADD, ADHD, ODD, as well as generational trauma, things like that, ages 6 to 13. And we are a behavioral health organization, healthcare, and we've got partnerships now with the University of Louisville, but we also serve a part of the community that's under-resourced. Funny enough, in neighborhoods like I grew up in Michigan, in Detroit, there were community centers like this. And like back then, we didn't know about what was going on, but if there were more centers like this, I think people would have a much smoother path to, to being able to advance. And so I was able to connect that mission to like a part of my own mission. I like Chris because we had a funny experience together. And then at the same time, obviously there were economics here where I'm like, this is scalable. I got partners who would be really interested in helping us, who are mission-oriented, mission-driven. And I go, let's do this thing. I visited once, I'm like, let's go, what do you need? And that's her way. And that was chapter 1.
I love it. Every time I hang out with you, I hear some really cool stories about how you neglected to invite me on trips.
Do we have to edit out the part about the plane?
No, that is
cool.
Going in.
Yes. Chris is gonna love that.
So
we tell people that one all the time.
I love, again, honestly, being around you and your stories, because these are amazing experiences. So I like to ask you, I like to go on another. If you were a CEO in that early 8-figure range, quick question. Do you ever feel like you have a good team, good people, but things still slow down unless you get involved? That's usually not a bad team problem. It's a you as a bottleneck problem. And most CEOs don't see it clearly until it's already choking speed, ownership, and execution. So I put together a quick tool called the 5 CEO Bottlenecks Slowing Your $10 to $25 million company. In about 10 minutes, it shows you where you're personally slowing the business down across strategic clarity, decision speed, delegation, trust, and communication, and which one bottleneck to fix first over the next 90 days. If you're watching on YouTube, scan the QR code on the screen or go to gpsleadership.org/scorecard. That's gpsleadership.com/scorecard. If you're on LinkedIn or Instagram, just comment scorecard below and my team will DM you the link. Once you've scored yourself, you have the option to book a free 15-minute executive leadership diagnostic call with me. We'll walk through your results, highlight where you're most likely the bottleneck, and tell you straight whether a deeper Executive 360 snapshot makes sense for you right now. So if you suspect you might be the ceiling on speed and ownership, comment scorecard or head to gpsleadership.org/scorecard and start there. See ya.
That's
So
great.
I'd like to.
I love that commercial.
Me too. I love the guy talking. He's very handsome. My you and I have talked about this a bit, but and you've kind of hinted at today. I'd love to hear like what's still hard. And when I say hard, it's like the hard part that you find about leading. You've been again leading this organization for a while now, but what still is difficult? What do you still find difficult in that leadership CEO position?
Oh, that's a good one. I think people will bucket it in saying managing different personalities is always tough, but I think it's a little bit deeper than that. When you start to think about why, especially in organizations like mine, you start to care about their intrinsic motivators of why they're there. Like, we deal with the tough population of kids who, like, I'll give you an example. This is a real one.
Yeah.
Friday, this goes to show you how much of an operator I still am. Friday, we had 2 kids within our program. We have somewhere between 60 and 70 kids attend our program, whether it's one-on-one therapy, group therapy, case management, community support services, and then kind of some of the adjacent services. And we partner with, again, University of Louisville and the major payers to provide some of these things. Yeah. Friday, we had 2 kids where we got some information and we had to deal with CPS, Child Protective Services. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. In our org, and I learned this from my business partner, the former executive director, it's an executive decision to make that call, because when you're the organization that makes that call, you become known as that organization in the community. It's like, oh, careful, they'll call CPS on you.
Wow. Yeah.
So going back to the noise and motivators, you've got a team who really wants to do the right thing. You've got optics and brand image and all these things for the organization. You've got these 2 kids who, if you think about it, yes, we need to do this.
Yeah.
So complicated decisions that have multiple impact streams.
Yeah.
And then multiple people involved, right? So, like, how did we deal with this? We go back to why we do this. Our pillars: the safety of the kids, mm-hmm. the level of service clinically, right? Yeah. And then for me, staff well-being. Yeah. And then everything else, dude, is like in the periphery. Yeah. Let me make sure, checkbox 1, do we keep these kids safe? Yes, we have to make this call. Mm-hmm. Clinically, is this the right protocol? Ask my chief clinical officer, my program director, my other clinical director. Yes, I recommend it. Staff, do I have staff buy-in for this, knowing there might be some repercussions? Everyone's motivated to make sure these kids are okay.
Yeah.
process. We did it. And I slept that night knowing that any blowback was worth it.
Yeah.
Right. And so fortunately, in this instance, we didn't have a whole lot of blowback, but we deal with that kind of stuff all the time. And we have staff members who are social workers and clinicians who look at our patients who have just gone through some of the worst experiences at 9-10 years old.
Yeah.
And you're like, you got to separate, your personal life from business. You can't.
Oh yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
And you're like, how do I make sure they're okay? How do I make sure, they're in a good place to do this? So managing these personalities and being in a place where they could show up for these kids and show up for these coworkers.
Yeah.
It's like that is a whole lot of the job, understanding that and making sure that you need a day. Take a step back. Let's switch client like census or loads for just a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. Everything else after that, Alex, it works itself out. So if we can stay with like those parts, man, we're good.
You remind me of a saying I love to bring up. It's when you're in those leadership positions, it's the right versus right decisions that you're responsible for.
Yeah.
That is like when something's right and wrong, like, oh, you shouldn't punch your employee in the face. Generally speaking, that's the wrong thing, right? Someone's gonna be like, but what if? Of course, yeah, there's always that one exception. But generally speaking, like that is the wrong thing to do. There's a right thing. But in these leadership positions, you could absolutely have chosen to go left, and that would have been absolutely justified. And you could have absolutely chosen to go right, and it would have been absolutely justified. And people would have been impacted regardless on either side. And it's ultimately your decision. Ultimately, you're the backstop for if things blow up, and you have to make that decision. Have you ever? I know this is kind of out of left field. Have you ever had to make a decision to, let's just say, go left when everyone else wanted to go right? And how did you deal with it? If you ever have, how did you come to that conclusion, and how did you deal with
it? This is pretty public. So we had to government shutdown last year. We get some federal funding. We had to do 20% layoffs a month into my tenure. And I had to ask my executive team on top of that to go unpaid. And then when they got back, take some additional cuts.
Yeah.
And, the conversation was, let's not do that because people will quit and there's going to be a bigger impact. But when you look at the financial models, then our runway gets shorter. Right? Or do you extend your runway and get people to buy in?
Yeah.
Both were incredibly unpopular.
Mm-hmm.
My board basically was like, you ask them for these cuts and people are going to quit and leave and won't come back, and you won't have a clinician here. You won't have this person. You won't have this person. On the flip side, I had people saying, you keep them in that position. You don't know how long this shutdown is going to last, man. You're going to close the door in 4 months.
Yeah.
And so what do? Flip a coin, ask someone. Everyone's kind of saying the same thing. I asked people to trust me.
Yes.
I asked people to trust me. And before I did that, I came up with a plan.
Yeah.
Whether or not it was going to freaking work, I did not know. But I said, listen, take the cut. Staff that I have to lay off, it's going to be 4 weeks, 6 at the worst. Once this comes back, I'm going to recoup some of the billing, recoup some of the funding because it's on the other side. I'm going to make you whole. Everyone.
Yeah.
Within 8 weeks. What I did not know was it going to last 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks. Mind you, like, you just don't know.
Yeah.
And they go, and I kind of think about it, I get a little choked up because I'm like, why the hell did they do that? They're like, you got us. Let's do this thing. So,
Yeah.
because the longer, if in my mind, if the program would have shut down, there are going to be 60 kids impacted.
Yeah.
Some of these kids only get meals where we are because we do some meal service for the kids. Some of these only get their socialization, some structure, or their appointments get made through our case managers. And you're like, if we close the doors down, once you close the doors down, you have no chance, a little chance of opening. So if I can extend my runway and then like get it to something small and then claw back, okay, that was my mindset.
Yeah.
Shit, man, it worked. Like I was like, whoa. It took us 3 months to recover. No one quit. We had to make some concessions on making people whole, but they were like, I know you're going to do it. I trust you. And we did. And there we were. Like, we got to January, great. February, stability. March, we were in a place where we had outside funding to open a new location. Like, it turned real quick and recouped our money. And so, like, that's where we are now. So this 6 months has been literally like this, but I always go back to the clients, the kids. Are we doing this clinically and compliantly, and the staff? So I went back to that.
Yeah.
And it worked. So unpopular, but it worked.
And you can disagree with me on this.
I'm going to. No, I'm just kidding.
If you had gone through those points clinically correctly, if this was clinically the best thing to do, the staff thought it was the best thing to do, the process was the right process. If you laid out that case and they didn't trust you, it wouldn't have mattered. So you've definitely done something. You were very intentional or not. You've built a connection with your team, and so I'm consistently reminding leaders that it's during the quote unquote good times that you really got to focus on building those connections, building that trust, understanding how your team is perceiving you and your behaviors, because your intent matters nothing in regards to the impact it's having on people. Like, you got to do this stuff when it's the good times, because there will be hard times. And this determines whether they'll trust you in those hard times or they're going to fend for themselves.
Trust. It's a fun, if you and I have been talking about this term trust for a long time, since our ATD days. Like, what does that really mean, right? Like, people use it as a buzzword. People use it in articles. It's great. It's got great SEO value. Like, but there is something here. And to me, for me, experience wise, the trust came from transparency. And what I mean by that is, I weathered 3 storms last year: a bad financial model, a shutdown, policy change, all within, X number of months. I came in the fall, but during the summer, my exec director was pretty much gone. He was pretty much checked out. He had family issues, and like, I had taken it on, but unofficially. And the board was like, you got to do it, or you find someone for us. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I came in and I said, yeah, I mean, you guys know me. I'm going to shoot it straight. It's really tough right now. And it's probably going to get a little tougher. And I went through as much as I knew about the financials. I went through as much as I knew about like our placement in terms of like our clinical quality and where we had deficits, our engagement scores with our staff who weren't happy, like our, bad feedback from just lingering things. And I go, okay, here it is. Sucks, right? And everyone's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, let's drown it out.
Yeah.
Mark Brackett, Yale professor, director of emotional intelligence, says You can't say that emotions are good or bad. It's just data letting you know how you're reacting to something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So here is information. This is not good or bad.
Yeah.
This is just data
Mm-hmm.
we have to work on.
Yep.
Drown it out. I know it's tough. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not a robot either. Trust me. I think this is terrible. I'm going to eat 3 tubs of ice cream tonight, midnight. Ben and Jerry's. Hello. Just kidding. But now that we've drawn it out, all right, COO, Joe, what are our options on that side? Clinical team, Megan, Tim, how do we fix some of these issues? Marketing team, well, there's this perception that we're the CPS callers. Is that true? Is it not true? Can we talk about how many families we've actually impacted? Do we have those numbers? We do. We onboarded 70 kids and 60 stayed, graduated 10. Like, let's talk about that. Then all of a sudden, the noise becomes action.
Yeah.
The quicker you can get to that, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That the trust comes from the transparency. The trust comes from we have a plan. It may work, may not, but we're moving.
Yeah.
Operators move.
Operators move. We have a plan. It may not work, but you know what? We're confident that we'll figure it out.
We're gonna figure it out.
I know we gotta wrap up. So I want to ask you, is there anything? Well, first, for those of you who are listening today, please click a like and share or comment. We've had so much fun. I know you all have laughed at some point in this episode. So I was click a like. And tell IHOP and Ben and Jerry to sponsor us. Is there anything you'd like to leave with our audience as we wrap up today?
Ooh, okay. There's one saying, and then just a little bit of, how do I put this? Encouragement. The saying is, I mentioned his name earlier, Elad Levinson, and I love using this, and I never forget it. God rest his soul. Elad was a trainer, consultant, coach, teacher, and we used to call him the mindful master out of ATD. He was out of Petaluma, California, and he used to, do a lot of consulting. He used to say, first the heart and then the work. It's great. Like, just a great line, but just think about that for a second.
Yeah.
There are people on the other side, right? That you're managing, leading. You're like, man, that dude sucks, or he's got a bad attitude. Something might be going on with him. You just don't know. I was having this conversation with a colleague the other day, and I was like, you got to think about why they might be there just for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And your view might change. So first the heart, then the work. The second is, this path that I'm on career-wise is atypical. Like, this is the riskiest path of like leaving really great job, couple of really great jobs, in some really cool fields, to go into startups and, try my hand at growing a company and becoming an executive. Alex, as you and I have talked, this is not what people tell us to do, right? Within our communities. They're like, get a good job,
get a safe job. Yeah.
safe. Don't do that. No, are you going to be okay? Some of us are meant for it, man. Like, we're meant for it, and it'll figure itself out. It will figure itself. Obviously make a calculated decision, make sure you can kind of weather a little bit of it, but it will figure itself out. Process. It's gonna be okay. That job will be there. You can get back there, and then things will figure themselves out. So don't be afraid to take that risk. Talk to people like Alex. Talk to people like me. How did we do it? Why did we do it? Because we had the choice, and we could, and we were capable. Trust that. That's all I got.
Thank you, kind sir.
Man, this is so dope.
I had a tear coming down.
Stop.
I sucked it back in though. I got a little tough on the camera.
And then it came back the other side and you sucked right back.
It's fine. Dude, I love this close. That's an absolutely wonderful way to wrap up this conversation. Thank you again for the time you spent with us today. I know you gotta
Anytime,
go.
my brother. This was awesome. Congrats on all the
literally
success,
saving
man.
lives. I appreciate you. Again, it's really one of the coolest things that you mentioned already is that you were talking the other day about how we've known each other for a long time.
Long time.
And we've got to see each other grow and take on these amazing opportunities and be like, wow, like, that's cool. I know I can do it. And you're like, wow, that's cool. And you just keep fighting and going. And it's really cool to see where you are now,
Do
bro.
you remember when we were talking about your leap into like, I'm going to go full into my leadership consultancy? I remember that conversation, like, and I go, dude, just think about it. You know, talk to Sue. How, you know, what does it take for you to survive? Just to try it out for like, and you're like, you know what? You figure it out real quick. It not much. And I've got this in the pipeline. This is a product ready to go. You had 6 out of the 8 things you needed. Yeah. And look at you, like, it's sustained. Again, process.
I love it. I love it. Hey, everyone. Man, dude, it's so cool being around you.
Man, you too, man. It's so cool.
Everyone, you know where I'm going with this. I encourage you, again, if you found anything of value from today's episode, which I know you did, please share it with someone. If it had an impact on you, I promise you it had a positive impact on someone else. As always, stay strong, stay positive, and definitely stay moving. Stay
Thanks for listening to The Executive Appeal with Alex Tremble. I invite you to follow The Executive Appeal wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow me, your host, Alex Tremble, across all socials or via email for exclusive webinars, courses, and speaking engagements on continued topics of executive leadership. So, until next time, stay strong, stay positive, and definitely stay moving.